boys and girls. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is Friday, May 8th, and I'm here to do your compare and contrast lesson. And today it's going to be on Balto and forces. Very good, Larry. You're getting better at that. So he's going to join us to do our compare and contrast for our two stories. So let's get started. So we have the true story of Balto, the sled dog. And we are going to be comparing this story to the story that we read this week, which is Forces. So these are very different. And we are going to begin first with thinking about the story of Balto and think about our story of Forces. When we compare these texts, let's first think about what is the same about these texts. Well, we notice that both texts give facts, don't they? This definitely gives facts, Forces, and the story of Balto gives a lot of facts. They give information, and they both have real photos. This one, Balto, and this story has real photos. So on our chart today, in the center, we are going to have that information written down, real photos and informational text. Can you think of anything else that's maybe the same about these stories? Think carefully. Think of the season. What do we see here? This person is skiing. What season is this taking place? And what about here? What do we see here? We see snow. So the setting in this story is definitely in winter, and this one is definitely in winter. So that is the next thing that we can put on our chart. Winter setting. Okay? Now, what else is in this story that we see in this one? Now, this is a very short informational text. We see a dog and we see a dog sled. Let's think of Forces. Did we see anything like that in here? Let's take a look. We're going to flip through the pages of Forces. Yes, what do we see here? We see a sled being pulled by dogs. I think there might even be another page with that. Let's go through and see if we can find it. Yep, here it is. We see a dog sled team. So that is in both of our stories. So right here, include a dog sled. Perfect. So that's a lot of things that are actually the same in our stories. Now how about how they're different? Oh, that ought to be easy. Oh, you think that's easy, Larry? Yeah, I think these stories are very different. Okay, Larry, what is one thing that you think is maybe different? Well, let's see. In the true story of Balto, the sled dog, all right, we'll go back to that one. It tells the true story of a dog that lived in the past. While Forces does have photos of dogs, but they are not the focus of the whole selection. Very good. The selection gives facts about Forces. So I'm going to record that different on the chart. You're right, Larry. Let's take a look at our chart again. So in the true story of Balto, the main topic is a dog that lived in the past. That is correct. But in Forces, it's not just about a sled dog. It's mostly about the topic of forces. Excellent. So boys and girls, can you think of anything else that might be different? Think for just a moment. Think about the features. Do you notice anything different about them? Well, we have a map here. I don't think I saw a map in the other story. This has a beginning, middle, and an end, doesn't it? It's a continuous text. And it has a sequence of events. Beginning, and then the sled team taking the medicine, and then arriving and saving the people. So we have more like a story, a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas in Forces, it's definitely not a story. It just goes through and talks about different things that have to do with forces. And it's divided into chapters. We see that. What else? What are these, boys and girls? Remember what these are called? If you guessed captions, that is correct. And the captions tell about the photos. And what was that feature at the beginning? Yep, table of contents. And of course, at the very end, what do we always have when we have a table of contents? We have a glossary and an index and a concluding page, conclusion. We don't see any of that in the story of Balto. All we see here is a map. So if we go back to our chart, let's go through and take a look. The true story of Balto, the sled dog, has a continuous text, yes, and it tells a sequence of events, beginning, middle, and end. And it has a map to show where the action took place. In the story of Forces, it has the text is divided into chapters. There are captions that tell about the photos. And it has more text features like we discussed on Thursday. Table of contents, conclusion, glossary, index, and even sidebars. Wow, that's a lot of different things. A lot of good information. Yes, it does have a lot of good information. So boys and girls, I would like you to freeze the video at this time and take a look at this chart and practice telling talking about the two stories, about how they are the same, both texts, and how they're different, incomplete sentences. So Larry is going to give you an example. All right, let's see. In both texts, they have photos and informational text. Very good. Can you do one that's different, Larry? Yeah, I'll try. In the story of Balto, it's mostly about a dog that lives in the past. But in the story of Forces, it's mostly about different things and how they move and forces. Excellent. So that's all you have to do, boys and girls, is to take a look at what's written here. First, go through and talk about how the stories are the same, and then look at how the stories are different. And that concludes our compare and contrast for today with Larry. I hope you enjoyed learning about Balto again and how it compares to our story on forces. And again, both of these are in Unit 10, which is all about forces in motion. So that concludes our story, our compare and contrast, and our Friday. So boys and girls, I hope you have a very happy weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.